This is
This is
This is Oaklanders on the line. Hey Oakland, welcome back. I'm your host as always, Noel California. On our last episode, we got to hear Oakland City workers talk in a personal way and give us a unique and genuine insight and share their love for the town. One of the biggest takeaways from episode 2 was that there was some common ground between Oakland residents and city workers, and that being an eagerness for change within city government. And while Oaklanders' relationship with city workers isn't perfect, it's an ongoing working relationship, bridging the gap between local government and its people, and that's what ultimately matters. You heard ideas from city staff. Now let's go get Oaklanders on the line and hear the change that they want to see.
My name is Tina Johnson,
But everyone really calls her Mama T.
and I am a native of Oakland, born and raised here. But anyway, I think one of the things that the city of Oakland needs to do is to mandate that all of their workers come back to work, because people not being in the offices, people not physically being at work, it has an effect on the rest of the city. I know that people probably enjoy working from home, and when you got that job, that was not part of your job that, oh, you're going to work from home. The pandemic happened. We had to make the adjustments to accommodate that. But now that it's over, let's try to get back to where we were before the pandemic, which means people being at work is what supports other businesses being able to stay.
She's speaking from experience. While the results are different now, she's telling us a story about how the beginning of the pandemic restrictions has affected her today. Now, according to the East Bay data dashboard, over 11,800 businesses had closed at the beginning of the pandemic, either permanently or momentarily. And I know Oaklanders felt that hit.
I think that's where I would start. Of course, there's a ton of other things happening in the city that need to be addressed, but in terms of something that could happen immediately, let's get people back into the offices and back to work.
Now, I talked to these two individuals of Oakland, and they had similar opinions to share.
The call to action that I would like to see is full transparency between the city government and its people, the residents of Oakland.
That's Miss Mendoza, a former Gator like myself, who works for the DA's office now.
I would definitely like to see a little bit more transparency. I feel like sometimes people are really good about giving a message, but then it falls through and there's no delivery.
That's Juan Aguilar. We met in community. He's a photographer and a passionate clothing vendor. If you missed episode 2, there were some overlaps in city employee comments on transparency, expressing the same interests as residents do.
I feel like everybody should be aware of a lot of the information that's going on within the city, and I know it's available, but I think it should be given to everybody in a different way, not just saying here's the information, but actually like passing it on to people. Maybe doing something where, you know, every resident gets something in the mail with like changes, maybe ways of them to go to these meetings that people have.
As you can see, there's a lot more overlap than we realize on both ends. One thing that I didn't even know while being a cultural strategist in government was the existence of K-Top, a media station ran by the city of Oakland that streams important government meetings.
I think if that was the case, a lot of people would be more involved. We hear a lot more voices, and we'll come together and create better solutions, have better ideas to solve a lot of the issues that we have. I think that's important as a community and as a city.
Now, regardless if what people are saying is true or accurate or not, it's not about being right, it's about being heard. And that's why it was super important for me to just listen and act as an extension of the city. Some would say that the relationship with the city of Oakland and its residents is minimal, and others might say it's non-existent, or that it might feel like a stranger giving care with gray hands. And it might feel strange or uninteresting because local government isn't talked much and taught early enough in our school systems. At least that's what a few Oakland residents think.
I think our children need to understand how does city level government work. It's like a mystery. I've just only recently started to unravel those pieces myself. I think we need to create a population of people that are in tune to their local government, and that starts with our schools.
There's this misunderstanding that school districts are ran by local government, but that's not true. These types of misunderstandings could get fixed if the city of Oakland did hold Citizens Academy like Tina mentioned in episode 2.
I think the city should host Citizens Academy.
Just sending them to school is not the end game. You're talking about the future. We're talking about the people who are going to be making the rules when people my age are retiring and stuff. These are the people who are going to be making the new rules and the new laws and seeing that they're enforced. And we're not teaching them anything.
I'm well aware that local government and school districts operate as separate entities, but Oaklanders believe that in order to get better local government, we have to make it interesting and teach it within our school districts. But more importantly, the people that work at local government level are usually people that grew up within these towns. We aren't just soulless people, we have to look out for each other. That's what these two residents think too.
I would like to see housing become immediately affordable and to have all of the empty houses be given to everyone that's on the street. And for all of that stuff that's been happening with doing all of the sweeps right now, I think that Oakland, instead of going with that, they should be given houses. We are filled with empty houses, and those should be given to everybody that's out there right now. And that's just plain and simple.
I would say for the city of Oakland not to barter with people trying to sell a vision rather than prove that they have one. Don't buy into the buzzwords, buy into the actions that people are doing.
Now, regardless of people's suggestions, whether they're realistic or untried or even possible given the city's capacity, in interviewing dozens of people for this podcast, I've heard tons of ideas for what Oakland can do. I also heard from city staff about the challenges of implementing many of these ideas for lack of funding or staffing or issues coming down from state or federal levels. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're not perfect. And Billy Joe Agan Jr. says it's spot on.
No city runs perfectly. It's a impossible task. I don't know. People don't really seem to realize how impossible it probably is to run a city. You can't run it perfectly. That's not how people work.
Let's continue to be the change that we want to see. And let's keep uplifting the motto, love life. Thanks for listening, Bay Area.
My name is Michael Latang, and you're listening to Oaklanders on the Line.